matter, genocide. Sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for they war. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids. No one makes countries laugh to your face, fight and die. Cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social side, they don't matter, genocide. Sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. See their shit, force of air. Fuck them back, that's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids. No one makes countries lie to your face, fight and die. Cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ron Stevens. This is Game On. It is October the 27th, 2015, and the world just keeps getting weirder. I don't know when this nonsense is ever going to stop. You go back in the day and you move up to today, and you just got to shake your head and go, what the what? When are people ever going to get hold of the fraud that's being applied upon them on a daily basis? I don't know. Hope it's soon, because we need to put a stop to this crap. Anyways, I'm thinking that this Halloween, what I would like everyone to do is hand out bacon and sausage to the children and whoever else shows up at your door. It'd be a great year for that. Halloween, trick or treat. Here, have a sausage and some bacon. Because once again, the WHO, the World Health Organization, is back at it again. Eating just 50 grams of processed meat daily, that's one wiener, boys and girls, that's one little hot dog, I don't know if that's with or without the bun, increases the risk of colorectal cancer by 18%. And this is out of a WHO study. WHO is the same organization, world organization, that wishes to give you 3,197 vaccines only because they care. There are plenty of health-related reasons, it says, to avoid that second hot dog or rethink your decision to double the bacon. And, of course, cancer is one of them, the World Health Organization said on Monday. What do we care? What do we care? Have a double bacon. For crying out loud, your other organizations at the United Nations, you dipshits, are telling us that the world's going to end. Never heard of climate change over the WHO? Have some bacon, eat an extra sausage, have 2 hot dogs. It doesn't really matter, does it? Because the world's going to end. We're past the tipping point. Oh my God. Hope Paris solves our problem for us. I hope they just stop letting us use any water or electricity or heating fuels or we're all going to die. So have the extra hot dog. Give the kid a hot dog for Halloween. Throw some meat out there for them. A little bit of meat. Maybe they're lacking meat. Maybe that's the problem in this world. There's too many vegans running around, or vegans, or whatever they call them, running around. Oh, you eat meat, do ya? Don't you know meat can kill ya? I read it in a magazine, you know. And not only that, I saw it on Oprah and Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz said the same thing. So you're going to die if you eat bacon. You know that. The world's gone stupid. Completely freaking stupid. The WHO's International Agency for Research on Cancer, the IARC, has announced it is classifying processed meats as a carcinogenic, meaning there is now because they classed it, because who out of the frickin' United Nations classed it as a carcinogenic, meaning there is now sufficient evidence to conclude that the consumption of everything from sausages to corned beef can cause cancer, particular collateral cancer. Now, this is the same outfit, the United Nations. This is just one arm of this body of psychopathic sociopaths who do studies. And because they categorized it, it says it means that there is now sufficient evidence. Because the IPCC categorized climate change as a problem, that means there is now sufficient evidence to conclude that the world is past the tipping point. I mean, when are people going to catch on to what the hell this United Nations thing is anyways, okay? We had World War I. World War I was fired up in order to get a world government. And out of World War I came the League of Nations. And the League of Nations failed because the good folks in America still had enough real history in their brains, or semi-real history, because nobody ever got real history, but semi-real history. They were still a proud enough people, let me put it that way, that the idea of them after fighting for their sovereignty, which they never got, but they thought they got, but the fact is that they believed they had sovereignty. They believed they'd broken away from King George, which they never did, but they thought they did, so that's okay. But they still had enough reasonable history, I suppose you would call it, but they knew in their gut that they were in no mood to give up any sovereignty, which is what required when you signed on to the League of Nations. So the American people told the bankers and the lawyers and the politicians and the kings and the queens and the general assholes that populate the earth to take a big hike. Ain't gonna happen. We ain't signing this damn thing. And then Mandel House said, well, if they don't sign it, we're gonna have another major war in about 20 years, which we did. It was called World War II. And what was the purpose of World War II? The same as the purpose of World War I, is to get some kind of a mechanism going that we could strive towards world government. And what came out of World War II? The United Nations. Well, by this time, the public school system had been so messed up, and history so revised and rewritten, that those poor students didn't have a freaking clue about any past history or semi-history to give them any bearings. They'd forgot all about the War of Independence by then. And so we have to have this entity so that we don't run into these wars anymore. So the United Nations, everybody sign on, and what we'll do is if someone gets aggressive, then the rest of us will go over and explain to the aggressor that if you don't stop this, we're going to thump your ass. Well, that didn't work out too good, did it? Because that was never the plan. Okay, the only plan was to get a world government run by the kings and the queens and the bankers and the lawyers and the corporations who started the frickin' wars and made money off the wars and killed a whole bunch of people to try to get what they want. And so it goes. So World War I ended. World War II started immediately thereafter. Not the bombing war, but the psychological, spiritual war, which is all part of the war. And then that ended, and we got the United Nations. Not only did we get the United Nations, which is a hovel of these sons of bitches that started all the trouble and killed all the people and caused all the trouble to enrich themselves and try to get the world government together. Not only did World War II create the United Nations, it also created Israel. So for all you Israel fans out there, give your head a freaking shake. Okay? Israel was created for a purpose, just like the United Nations was created for a purpose. World War III started immediately after the end of World War II, again starting off with the psychological, spiritual warfare. But it also had to do a whole lot with the bombings. Now, of all the countries signed on to the United Nations, and the job of the United Nations was to police each other so there'd be no more wars, well, it kind of failed, didn't it? Hasn't been a day gone by since there ain't been a war. Not really so much a war as it's genocide and straight-out killing. Libya is a beautiful example of that, even though Libya was a member of the United Nations and wasn't looking to cause anybody any trouble. Well, look at Libya. Okay, so we have these two groups, and the WHO, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, the FAO, all of these outfits are part of the United Nations. And where is the United Nations World Headquarters? Sitting on American frickin' soil. Take that bit of salt and stick it in your frickin' eye. And who gave the land for the United Nations building? Oh, I don't know, maybe the Rockefeller family? And who started the Trilateral Commission? Oh, I don't know, Rockefeller? You got your CFR? You better start looking at the real problem down south and everywhere else than looking over here at your congressmen and your senators. Okay, I don't mean jack shit. They mean nothing. Okay? America, the United States is a corporation. Canada is a corporation. Australia is a corporation. Britain's a corporation. Just roll it along, folks. They're all corporations. And they're all working with the United Nations, pushing this nonsense that they push on a daily basis. And these corporations and these foundations that the corporations set up are feeding the money to the NGOs to run around on the streets going, occupy, idle no more, eat vegetables, don't eat meat. All they're doing is propagating the message that the internationalists want you to swallow so they can get what they want. And the main driver of all of this stuff, the main mechanism is environment. And food and water, but it's all environment, isn't it? That is your environment. You eat, you drink, you use electricity, you use fuel. That's your environment. But they want that all stopped because they want to save the planet. But there's too many people on the planet. So we got to get rid of a whole bunch of you. Sorry about that little sidetrack rant there, but it's got to get said. Anyways, the IARC also found that red meat can probably cause cancer, probably, and if you buy enough lottery tickets over a long enough period of time, you probably can win. Your odds on are half of that being hit by lightning, winning the big one, but, it's a probability. I love the language these clowns use. It's straight ambiguity all the way down the line. Although the evidence is found to support this link is less robust, these conclusions published in the medical journal Lancet Oncology were arrived at by 22 global experts after reviewing more than 800 studies. Now, of course, we don't know who these 22 global experts are, or what was in the studies. But when we read these reports in the newspaper, oh, I see, it was arrived at by 22 global experts. Well, they would know, wouldn't they? And oh my God, look, they did that after reviewing 800 studies. Well, it must be correct then. The IARC's announcement is the strongest statement yet by public health body linking meat to cancer. It has also provoked anxiety amongst carnivores. Well, I don't feel any anxiety. I just want to go over to the WHO and pop somebody up the side of the frickin' head. It's provoked anxiety amongst carnivores and backlash from the meat industry, which blasted the IARC finding as dramatic and alarmist. Really? Really? What, you don't believe in climate change? That's why you don't believe the WHO thing on meat, because you don't believe in climate change? Oh, you're one of those deniers, aren't you? You deny what's coming from the priests over at the United Nations? How dare you? That's blaspheme. That's pathetic. You should be locked up somewhere. Anyways, it goes on. On the face of it, the announcement seems frightening. Woo! The IARC has designated processed meats a Group 1 cancer hazard, which places them in the same category as everything from asbestos to tobacco. Okay. So your hot dog is like ingesting asbestos or tobacco. Okay. Now, where are we going with that one? But the Group 1 category only means there is sufficient evidence that these things can lead to cancer. It does not mean everything in this category is equally dangerous or equally likely to cause cancer. So you just negated your last paragraph, didn't you? Completely negated it. And that's exactly how the UN writes all of their documents. They're the most miserable things you can ever try to read. It's right, like trying to read Old English where the S's look like F's. It takes a while to get comfortable with reading their crap. Once you get comfortable with it, you understand exactly what these dicks are up to. Experts also stress the cancer risk of consuming a smoked meat sandwich still pales in comparison to that of smoking a cigarette. At this point, the public health message isn't to quit meat, which can be a good source of nutrients like proteins and iron, just to eat it in moderation, okay? And as you cool down into moderation, then more scare tactics will come up until all you eat is, I don't know, lettuce or cabbage. That's the way they do these things. And I'll get some of their statistics as we go down through here. I don't think people need to all of a sudden become vegetarian or avoid meat. See, all of a sudden become vegetarian. We're slowly going to lead you there, okay? Or avoid meat altogether, said Regine Hung, a cancer epidemiologist, I got to say that right, with Mount Sinai's Research Institute, who has previously worked with the IARC. So now we have someone from the IARC backing up, but at first he's working for Mount Sinai, but then to tell you that he was one of the guys that were working over at WHO on this nonsense. So that's hardly, that's like a conflict of interest. You need to think about what is a balanced meal, what is moderation. The evidence linking cancer and meat consumption has been accumulating for some time, according to Hung. Well, of course it has, because that's all the United Nations is. It's a data outfit, okay? It's a problem, reaction, solution. They have to create these problems, and they have to get the reaction, and then the solution that they'd already come up with for a solution for the false problem. It all works out well for them. So, to say that I have no use for the UN or anybody attached to the UN or any scientist in particular, I really have no use for scientists. Scientists are, well, they're liars. Okay? I'm sure there's a good scientist out there somewhere, but I mean, overall, scientists' job for the long time now has been the job of manipulating data and manipulating minds and giving the data to the real good manipulators like the folks at the UN, which gets spun out to the media. Anyways, even before the IARC's announcement, the Canadian Cancer Society was recommending that people restrict their red meat consumption to 3 servings per week. They also recommended avoiding processed meat altogether, or perhaps more realistically, reserving it for special occasions such as holiday dinners and sporting events. Now, the Canadian Cancer Society, of course, is hooked up with the United Nations through and through. So if this particular story I'm reading is in the Toronto paper, but if you read the same story, which I'm sure appeared in the Australian papers or the British papers, they would have had the Australian Cancer Society or some other society backing up this story. That's what they always do. But the IARC's analysis is the most comprehensive to date. Their analysis is the most comprehensive to date, examining 800 papers and considering the evidence from a variety of angles, including human risk, animal risk, and toxicology, said Katie Wright, a senior manager of research communications with the Canadian Cancer Society Ontario's division. So all they did was that said that it's the most comprehensive because they examined 800 papers and therefore didn't say she examined the 800 papers to find out if they're right. She just accepts what the IARC says, which is what goes on constantly with the IPCC. Same garbage, different day, different organization within the United Nations. These people are lunatics and they are bloody dangerous. While these numbers sound dramatic, Wright cautioned that they also need to be taken in context. Compare them with tobacco, which increases cancer risks by 20 or 30-fold. In the United Kingdom, tobacco is also the cause of 86% of lung cancers. Red meat and processed meats only account for 21% of bowel cancers. Yada, yada, yada. 1/3 of cancers can be prevented by eating well and living a healthy, active, I'm going to put this in, active UN lifestyle, Wright said. If you're only really looking at doing something to improve your health, quitting smoking or not starting to smoke is still number one thing you can do. How does meat consumption rank on the spectrum of healthy and unhealthy food and behaviors? Okay, now eating meat is a behavioral problem, apparently. How does meat consumption rank on the spectrum of healthy and unhealthy foods and behaviors? Okay, these are change agents, okay? They change your behavior, they change your way of thinking, they change your life, they run your life to get in your brain, and you got to get them out of your brain. Now, my uncles and aunts live to be, on the whole, very old people, real late 80s, 90s, into the late 90s, and they didn't live into their old age sitting in a wheelchair in a home. Okay, these people, my uncle's 88, he's still out in the bush, not because his wife told him to go to the bush and not come back. He likes the bush, and he's been working the bush his whole life, and has a very large garden, and he tends to that garden by himself. My other uncle was 92 last time I saw him. He's gone now. I believe he lived to be 99. But when I went up to the farm, we had a great big lunch with bacon and moose and fried potatoes and whatever else, and coffee and that. And he didn't nibble away at his meal at 92. He ate it like a real man. And then when he was done, we talked for a bit, and then he was headed out to the bush on his tractor, completely blind, and went back and cleaned up some of the bush. As a blind man on a tractor, 92 years after eating a large plate of meat, which he'd been eating his entire friggin' life, and made it to about 99. It's about behavior, people. It's all about behavior. Anti-smoking is about behavior. This food thing is about behavior. Using less energy is a behavior modification, and so is the use of water and every other damn thing. It's a psychological, spiritual war that's being run against us, and we got to come to terms with it. Anyways, everyone needs to eat. Well, there's an interesting thought, isn't it? But nobody needs to smoke. And the World Health Organization has identified tobacco use as the single greatest avoidable risk factor for cancer mortality worldwide in a given year. Now, I'm going to read this, and unless I screw up here, I think they got their stats completely wrong. Very few people who picked up a newspaper would have got pie the first couple of paragraphs of this entire story. In a given year, tobacco use accounts for nearly a quarter of all cancer deaths and kills 6 million people worldwide. Remember that number, 6 million. 6 million. What else killed 6 million? This is a number they like to use. For some reason, I don't know why they like that number 6 million. There's absolutely no evidence that 6 million Jews were killed at Auschwitz. No evidence whatsoever. And I highly doubt that there are 6 million people on their death certificates that said they died because they smoked. Now, I have a friend of mine, Kathy, I think she's in the chat tonight, and she knows what this is all about. She's studied this. She's fought this anti-smoking nonsense for years, and it's the precautionary principle, okay? But these guys run the data to their benefit, always, okay? Now, what we find is that this made me giggle. She was telling me one time that, if my uncle was a smoker, which he wasn't, but if he was, my aunt's about 90 now, and she's been a smoker all her life. She has quit, but she's still dancing and stuff. I mean, and she's about 90. But what Kathy was explaining through this precautionary principle and that is that if someone dies, okay, did they smoke? Well, they cause of death, smoker. Not necessarily that's the cause of death, but they were a smoker, so that's the cause of death. Okay, this is manipulating data. Okay, it's the same thing as the Michael Schmidt thing. I watched an older video of that, and a family who was buying his product, real health freaks, right? And make no mistake about it, comparatively speaking, raw milk is like about a gazillion percent better for you than this processed milk, even though the government has termed raw milk to be a hazardous substance, if you can believe that one. And so they don't want you to do anything except what they want you to do. But anyways, so that particular movie I was watching, I'll do this really quick. So they were after Michael. This is way long time ago. They've been up his ass for 21 years. So he had a cow share program going at the time, and this was family customers. They weren't customers; they were cow share owners. So they owned part of the cows, so it's actually their milk. The son got sick, and in the film, they're talking about how healthy, health conscious they are and everything, and that's why they're drinking raw milk and that. So the father come home one day, and his son's sitting on the can in the bathroom. He's got excruciating stomach cramps. He's been on the can for 5 freaking hours. They finally make a decision to call somebody, so they come pick the kid up. He's not a kid. He's probably 19, 20. Pick up the kid, take him to the hospital, and find out he's got E. coli. So they're going through a list of stuff. Do you eat this? Do you do that? Yeah. I know we're very health conscious people. Yeah. And so then they got down to, doing it. Well, we drink raw milk and that. Well, hell broke loose. Okay. He said it got haywire. Okay, they started really getting ugly with them because they were raw milk drinkers, and they immediately blamed the sickness of the kid on the raw milk. Well, that's why he's sick. That's why he has E. coli, because of the milk, and went crazy. But then the kid figured out that it wasn't. The family's going, well, how could it be the milk? Because we all drink the milk. We were all drinking the same milk. So how is it he got so ill and we didn't? And then the kid remembered that he was in a big rush one day, and he just went to a fast burger joint and grabbed a burger. And then they figured out that's what made him sick, because it certainly wasn't the milk, because nobody else in the family got sick from drinking the same milk the kid drank. The only thing different was the kid went and had that hamburger somewhere. And so then from there, they sent a woman out to Michael's pleading for some raw milk because she had these health problems. She was going to have an operation, and she wanted to try to boost her immune system. And she heard raw milk was good for that, yada, yada, yada. Michael felt bad for her. Michael's an honest man. He thought this was an honest woman, and he gave her some milk, and then found out later that she was a government agent, and they tested the milk and found out, guess what? Not only does it not have E. coli or anything else in it, it's actually raw milk. And that was, I think, the very first time they raided his farm, which was way back in the early 90s. So trust your government, people. Just keep on trusting your government, and keep on trusting the UN, and keep on trusting these idiots on the TV. Just keep on trusting them, see where it's going to get you to. Anyways, says here, I love this statement, because this is the same as the coal plants in Ontario. When they're trying to shut the coal plants in Ontario, and it was about destroying our industrial base, not about saving the planet, and not about saving anybody's health. It was specifically about killing our industrial sector. And that come right out of Morris Strong in The Old Hope for the Planet, is that the industrial nations be made to collapse. Isn't that our responsibility to help that bring about? So the coal plants, for years they said, I forget how many it was, 1,600 in that range, every year in Ontario. It was just being blasted at people. Every year in Ontario, 1,600 plus people die as a direct result from the emissions from the coal plants. Well, I'm sure you can go through every death certificate in Ontario, since Ontario showed up here, and you're not going to find anybody on their death certificate died from secondhand coal plant emissions. Okay? It doesn't exist. Okay? This is data they use to manipulate with. And it's wrong data, just like the IPCC data. Okay? There's nothing real about that shit. Anyways, it says here, in a given year, tobacco use accounts for nearly a quarter of all cancer deaths and kills 6 million people worldwide. So tobacco is as bad as Nazi Germany and as bad as Auschwitz, is what that sentence says, including more than 600,000, okay, as a result of secondhand smoke. Well, that's data that doesn't exist. We'll let the 6 million go, but that data can't be correct, including more than 600,000 as a result of secondhand smoke. That's impossible data, is what that is. Smokers shave 10 years off their life expectancy compared to non-smokers. Now, that again is skewed data, because you die. So if somebody's a smoker and they're 92 years old and they die, they say, oh, well, they shaved 10 years off their life. Based on what? Nothing. And quitting before the age of 40 reduces the risk of dying from a smoking-related disease by 90%. Again, data that they can't back up. According to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, that's who says that, okay? Let's say this, there are some known benefits of eating meat, but there's no known benefit of smoking. Well, this story started out at the top about a hot dog and bacon. I'm still on the same story. The headline up at the top of this damn story, I hate media. Did I tell you that? I really dislike media. The headline of this story is cancer risk rises with the consumption of bacon, sausage, and processed meat. Now, we've completely got away from meat as we go through this story. What the hell's the story even about? It's about behavioral change. Okay? Behavioral change. We've all heard the stories about, it takes 9 gazillion gallons of water to produce 1 gram of meat? I know the numbers are all whacked, but it's the same. It's just as nonsensical those numbers are as what they've been spewing to people. Okay? And the people are so dumbed down now, they believe that it takes 8 gazillion liters of water, or gallons, whatever, to produce a pound of meat or whatever. And these idiots think that the water that the animal drank and the water that was used to raise the crop to feed the animal is gone forever. I've talked to these people. They think it's gone. That took away our water, and it's gone now. We can never get it back. I mean, people have lost their freaking minds. Now, it says up here, I didn't plan on spending more than 2 minutes on this story, to tell you the truth, when I started this, but, whoops. Because I hate ludicrous stories that are being pushed on the public as realities. It says here, kills 6 million people worldwide. In a given year, smoking kills 6 million people worldwide, including more than 600,000 as a result of secondhand smoke. Down here we have a bar thing, and it says cancer deaths worldwide, estimates by cause. Bacon, that's right, people, bacon, of which just so happens that the Muslims don't like bacon. So if you have Muslims come to your door this Halloween, be sure to give them some bacon. A little bit of bacon. 34,000 people die every year from eating bacon, hot dogs, sausages, and cold cuts. Red meat, which includes fresh hamburger and beef, kills 50,000 people per year. Pollution, and that their pollution is qualified of combustion of fuel, kills 200,000 every year. Alcohol, liquor, beer, and wine, kill 600,000 people every year. So alcohol, beer and wine are 3 times more dangerous than pollution, according to WHO. And down here at the bottom, the big solid bar, tobacco. From cigarettes, cigars, and pipes, kills 1 million people every year. Well, wait a minute. These are cancer deaths worldwide, estimates by cause, tobacco, 1 million every year. Wait a minute. Just above this, it says, in a given year, tobacco use accounts for nearly a quarter of all cancer deaths and kills 6 million worldwide. But down here, this is all from WHO. Down here, it says it kills 1 million per year. So, you people have got to wake up, just generally wake up to the bullshit. I'm not going to read the rest of this. It's ridiculous. And it's always been ridiculous. And it continues to get more ridiculous. And I don't really know what we can do about it except just stay on them. Now, I'm going to buzz over here is what I plan on spending more time on. And don't get me wrong about meat. Meat is damn dangerous. It's extremely dangerous. Not real meat. Okay, not real meat, you see. Real meat's fine. It's the industrial meat, if you want to call it that, that is dangerous. But then so's your vegetables are dangerous. Your fruits are dangerous because they poisoned everything. They poisoned all of your food sources because they care. So, we got to get back to eating real food. But see, Michael Schmidt, who is in the business of real food, it's causing him all kinds of problems because he's producing actual healthy food, and it's not going to kill anybody, and that's no damn good at all, because we need to get rid of all of these people in order to save the planet. Now I'm going to put this one in the chat. This was sent to me today, and everybody needs to look at it. And I don't care where you live. You're going to find, if you look around, you'll find something extremely similar. And this one in particular is called We Conserve. I see Kathy is in here tonight. Oh, excellent. And dropping in all kinds of links. That's beautiful. So to those in the chat and those not in the chat, you need to come to the chat. Just go to ucy.tv, get down here to the main page, find chat, hit chat, and jump on in. And because I cannot read all of these links, but there's all kinds of good links in here. So anyways, welcome to We Conserve. Now, actually, it was Kathy, I think, that sent me this today. And it just makes me want to throw up. It really does. Where is that? They have in here somewhere, if I can find it. Now it all sounds really nice. I mean, it all sounds really nice. Live local and eat local and all this kind of nonsense, but that's not what it's about. Okay, it's about behavioral change, the behavioral change that they want you to accept. Now, somewhere in here, I'm going to call these guys likely tomorrow. They have a phone number in here. And if you go to the About button, you will see all these organizations that are part of this thing. And it's bloody ridiculous. But what I'm looking for here is, I'm sure it was on this one. Oh, they got a little Canadian celebrity in here telling us I've seen him around. And Oh man, I think this is the one that had it in here. Um, I'm sure this is it. I just can't dig it out right now. Um, I was looking for. Uh, Damn. So this is a pretty good site, really, if you want to understand who all's involved in Ontario here. Not all. I mean, there's a lot more people than this. There's all kinds of different organizations, but oh, here it is, and I saw it somewhere on this site. The new Ten Commandments. So what I have found here is our priorities. It doesn't say Ten Commandments, but I did find it somewhere on the site. We have set 10 priority actions that help define a conserver society. You see, you must be part of the conserver society in order to be a good community member, of which the police are community police now through the international programs to help you be a better community member, and they are to search out those whose minds haven't been quite fixed yet, those who might have derogatory remarks to say about what's going on. And the police are there in the community to help convince you that it's better to be part of the community than not be part of the community. Anyways, you're supposed to help nature, save water, save energy, use green power, drive less, eat smart, waste less, prevent pollution, buy green, and live local. Because when we're done, you ain't going to have a private vehicle to go anywhere. So you're going to have to live local. And that's part of the deal. So that's their new 10 Commandments. And damn dangerous bunch it is. The creator said, I created everything and I'm giving you dominion over it. The new Ten Commandments are, we didn't create anything, but we've conned you into believing we're the new gods and the new priests. Of course, we're scientists, and you can't buck what a scientist says. You just believe us like you believe the priests. You were manipulated by them. Now it's our turn. And these are the new Ten Commandments which you will follow. And if you don't follow these new Ten Commandments, well, geez, your life's going to be made pretty damn miserable for you. In a world where the focus of environmental change is on regulation, ours is a unique model. We are a council whose members are committed to leading, and our strategy recognizes a voluntary leadership by consumers and constituents alike is the only way to achieve long-lasting change in our economy and social policy. Our approach does not replace a regulatory model. It builds a much stronger foundation for regulatory and fiscal actions that support a strong culture of conservation. Doesn't that sound nice, everybody? As an organization, this is their next steps. As an organization, the Conservation Council of Ontario is committed, and I'm going to put in should be committed, to a funny farm somewhere, but this isn't really funny, is it? Is committed to supporting a voluntary transition strategy for Ontario. Our members are working to promote conservation within their membership and or areas of expertise. For those in Ontario, we invite you to join us. Come join us. Be part of our Conservation Council. Be an upstanding member of the community. Join us and adapt and adopt the strategy to support your work as a model you can adapt and adopt in your own jurisdiction. I mean, this is really psycho. These people are nuts. Now, just what I did here was I always like to know who is backing this crap, right? So I have to go back here. Where did I find that? Be a conserver, maybe? Nope. Oh, this is great. Info sheets, help nature, save water, save energy, drive less. Okay, this is their 10 commandments here. So how am I supposed to help nature? Individual actuals, design a workshop, teaching and learning for a sustainable future in a multimedia education program published by UNESCO. Check out some samples of their workshops here. This is actually a really good site if anybody wants to get into the depth of the what's going on here. I mean, this is really, really sad that we've got this far without nipping it in the bud. Water. Let's see about water. I love water. Such a wonderful thing. Water is our most precious resource. Yet, Canadians are the biggest water wasters in the world, bar none. So what's our record? The average Canadian uses, are you ready for this, 329 liters of water per day. Now, let's see, that's about 100 gallons, thereabouts, give or take, of water. Now, that means you probably have a shower, and you probably do some laundry, and probably somebody else does some showering. It's called normal. And did you waste the water? Of course not. It's like the nonsense about it takes so much water to make a pound of meat. It's like when you use water, it somehow disappears because we're water wasters. I don't waste any water. In fact, I've never met a Canadian that wastes water. Hey, Jim, what are you doing? Well, I was going to go fishing with you, but I decided I'm going to stay home and waste water. I get a real kick out of it. I just like to open up all the taps in the house and outside the house, and I just like to see water run down drains and out in the driveway. So I just really enjoy it. So maybe we'll go fishing another day. But I am a water waster, and I'm damn proud of it. And why don't you join our club, the Water Waster Club? Oh, I can't do that because the water people will come and get me and take me away. Ha 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 ha. I am so sick of this drivel shit. But this is a really good page. This is a really good site for drivel. While Canada does have more fresh water than many places in the world, it is not an inexhaustible resource. The water cycle is a closed system, so the water that goes down our drains will eventually be cycled back to us. The water we consume, as well as what we put into the water cycle, has profound effects on environment and human health. Therefore, saving water is not just about reducing the quantity we consume, but also protecting the quality of our drinking water sources for ourselves and future generations. Well, if you'd get back to normal farming practices, you'd get rid of an awful pile of the crap that ends up in the water. Okay? You would do that. You see, in the old days, the rain would come and go in the water. It still does the same thing. I mean, the earth cleanses the water. Protecting the quality of our existing water resources by being aware of what we are putting into the water supply will help keep it clean and reduce the cost of processing when it is recycled back to us. There are many actions you can take to help this protection, from simple changes in your behavior. See, behavior. Change your freaking behavior. Don't eat the bacon. To installing technologies that will help to maintain quality and quantity of water used. Okay, so there's a whole list of stuff here. The UN wants you to reduce your water usage by 75%. And they're going to do that the same way they did it with your electrical bills, and that's through price pointing it upwards. Okay? So you can't afford to use it. They call that conservation. Okay? It's not conservation. It's price pointing you to the point where you can't afford to use water, or you can't afford to put the lights on in your house. And this is all thanks to the idiots that started World War I, World War II, and brought us to the United Nations and Israel. Save energy, electricity, oil, or natural gas. I've almost whacked myself through an hour here. This sucks. I could go. I was just starting to have fun with this. Because, let's see, where the hell? Anyways, somewhere in this page, funding, maybe that's it. Is it funding? Nope. List of funding, top funders in Ontario. Maybe this is it. No, this is not what I'm looking for. Anyways, on this page somewhere, let me see, provincial networks and leaders. Networks. Anyways, there's a page on here of funders and that. There's David Suzuki's name. Asshole. Anyways, the Pembina Institute, that's where the president of the Ontario, or the Canadian Wind Energy Association, came from, out of the Pembina Institute. And he's also included in the book Cloak of Green, which I recommend everybody read, because in there's Elizabeth May, Morris Strong, David Suzuki, and the gentleman from Pembina Institute that became the head of the president of the Canadian Wind Institute, who just happened to be the guy that David Suzuki and Robert Horning used to write papers together about behavioral change, and that was funded through the provinces and the feds and through the foundations, so that these jackasses could write UN paper and change it up a little bit to put a Canadian spin on it, of which they got paid for, of which went into the government offices, of which the government offices set their policies on, of which they made their statutes and rules and regulations, of which they passed through the legislature, of which went to the lieutenant governor of the province and the other provinces, and the Governor General of Canada, of which those people are as Queen. Okay, so they're the ones that have to sign in Queen's place in order to make any of this stuff into the law books or the legal books. So this is a real sad state of affairs that we have. And I hope people, I don't care if you're from America, Australia, or anywhere else, once you go through some of this stuff and read some of it, then go find the same stuff in your country and read it, and you'll find out that it says, guess what, exactly the same damn thing. And I don't have time. I really want to talk about a phone call I made today. Maybe I'll do that Thursday night. Maybe I'll post it too. That was a lot of fun I had today with a company called, I forget what it's called now, Roxol, which makes insulation. And I phoned their head office and had a very interesting chat with those people about how they're being used as useful idiots by promoting this nonsense. And we talked a lot about energy and the fact that I did speak with the senior policy advisors for the Ministry of Energy, and we took her through all the frauds and that. Anyways, it looks like we're out of time. I wish we had more time. We don't know. But I will be back Thursday night at the same time, same place, 7 o'clock. And I just want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening. And, keep talking, keep teaching, and keep shining the light on these dick dudes. Because we got to win this battle. Because if we don't win it, well, your kids and grandchildren's life is going to be with you. Take care, everybody. I'm out. Bye-bye.